Welcome to the other golf game I'll be playing for this Let's Play. Special Tee-Shot, released for the Satellaview in 1996. The Satellaview, for those who don't know, is the Super Nintendo's kind of satellite-based game download service. It was kind of a predecessor to Steam, if you will. Of course, you had to be playing at the right time in order to actually download anything you wanted, because the games were distributed over satellite. Anyhow, you may have noticed already that Special Tee-Shot shares a couple of similarities with Kirby's Dream Course. That's because while this game was in development, they were developing this golf game, and they decided later to retool it into a Kirby game, which explains the similarities. And then later, I guess they decided, oh, we should show everybody what this game was originally going to be, because that would be interesting to look at. And it is. I actually think Special Tee-Shot stands up nicely on its own. There are a couple of... well, there's a lot of differences from Kirby's Dream Course. There's no copy abilities, for one thing. There are power-ups, so we'll go over that later, but you can see that some of the obstacles are similar, like that conveyor belt. And the grid is pretty similar too. So, the interesting thing about Special Tee-Shot is it gives you more control over the initial shot that you make, but once the ball is in motion, there's nothing you can do, and it's completely up to fate. But already we have a hole-in-one. That was actually the first time I had ever made a hole-in-one on this hole. I've played this game quite a bit, but hole-in-ones are a lot harder. They don't want you to get any hole-in-ones, actually. So this game can be a lot more frustrating because you can't really control the ball once it's in motion. What you can do is, you can see that I'm using a chip shot here, and I can actually control the arc that my ball takes. So we have trampolines on this hole. And trampolines do exactly what you think they do. So, since I don't really know where the ball is going to go here, let's just go full top spin, full power. Oh, that's very, very bad. Oh, that's very, very, very bad. So Special Tee-Shot is a lot closer to an actual golf game. You can see that there's a par there. And instead of simply getting a low enough score for gold medals like in Kirby's Dream Course, what we're going to be going for here is just getting 8 under par on every course. So 8 under par is what we want. The good thing about about being able to control the arc of the ball during a chip shot is I can just go full power here and completely miss the hole. Oops. Okay, so I'm gonna get par in this hole, which is not bad. There's plenty of chances to get 8 under later on. Another thing I should mention is that Special Tee-Shot kind of semi-randomizes each hole. Like, sometimes the hole will be in a different position, just to keep things interesting, because, you know, there's not, like, nothing really changes on each playthrough. I don't think, well, we'll talk about that later. So we have water hazards here, and unlike in Kirby's Dream Course, there are actually puddles of water you can land in also. You want to avoid those because they're slippery, and it causes one other painful effect, which we'll see if I land in the water here, which I'm going to. Oopsies. So when you're in the water, something very bad happens. Let me just adjust my shot here. That looks good. So yeah, that happens. The little swing meter bounces quicker. But it looks like I'm going to get... no, I'm not going to, actually. I'm going to miss the hole by an inch again. They also give you the swing meter when you're just putting, which means that if you miss the timing, then you might wind up making a curved shot when you don't want to. And you also can't really plan out curved shots or change the direction of a bounce after a chip shot like you can in Kirby's Dream Course. So this is, on this hole, this is one of the holes where the hole's position is actually randomized. It can randomly have its position switched with that little button there. which doesn't change a whole lot. It just changes the direction you have to direct this shot coming up here. This is one of the holes, I think, where they do definitely intend to let the player get a hole-in-one if they want, and it's very simple. I suppose since the game actually displays the angle and arc of your shot, if you like hold the R button, you could write down what shots you need to take. So it looks like, yes, we're good. So the conveyor belt brings us over the hill and sends us straight into the hole. It's a very simple hole-in-one. And we're on to the back 4. Kind of interesting that these two games give you 8 holes per course instead of like 9 or 18. Oh well. What have we got here? Ah, the dance floor level. I like how every hole has a name. That's so cool. So there are a couple of obstacles I have to explain. I'm gonna let that gold square down there speak for itself. I'm gonna try to hit that button so I can demo that as well. The glass cone there is basically a pinball bumper. It'll just, like, it increases your speed way by a lot, is what I'm trying to say there. I speak good. So yes, that's what the gold square does. It sends you into a direction at top speed until you hit something, and you, like, climb over walls and stuff. It's really cool. So I want to avoid having to deal with the swing meter, so I'm making a chip shot here. And it goes in like a basketball. If I had made that shot a putt, there was a chance I would have missed the timing and, like, turned it into a curve shot that I didn't want. So 3 holes to go, and I just have to get 2 under here. Next up is the big wave hole, which I don't like in the slightest. You can see that there are those wave obstacles there, which kind of remind me of Marble Madness, really. So this is one of the holes where I think they just want you to make a shot and then deal with wherever you end up, which, you know, I could actually try a curve shot here, maybe, but oh well. We'll go with whatever I do here. So yes, you can see that that was actually not that bad a turnout. Kind of wish I had wound up closer to the hole. I don't know how you're supposed to get a hole-in-one on this, but I'm sure there's like a 1 in 100 chance of doing so, if you're like insanely lucky. So this should get me in the hole. Those green patches there, they just push you in the direction that they're pointing. Obviously, it's one of those things where you can just look at the obstacle and say, I know what that is going to do to me if I hit it. So this hole was just a complete disaster when I played it for this Let's Play, unfortunately, so this is going to be really embarrassing for me. I really, really want to hit that button because A, I want to show what it does, and B, it'll be important for the final hole. So I'm going to try to hit it by bouncing off the trampoline. Bounce off of it, and I miss it by, like, inches again. I don't know what happened there. I don't get it at all. So I'm just gonna shoot at it. I could go into the hole, but, again, I really want this for the final hole. It's gonna be really important. Okay, so hitting that button turns the daytime into nighttime. It makes the hole bigger, so it's easier to shoot into, and it, reveals this power-up here. There's 2 power-ups in Special Tee Shot. This first one I'm gonna show off on the final hole. And then I'm just gonna, like, get tossed around like a bumper here. Now the really bad thing, in my opinion, about the special shot, and as it's called, if you want to preserve it for a future hole, then you have absolutely no choice but to make the rest of your shots putts until you use the special shot. The next chip shot that you make is forced to be the special shot, and you can't, like, save it for later. Really bad idea, in my opinion, but I suppose they wanted to have some kind of limitation to it, because it's actually a really overpowered power-up. So I'm taking a +2 here, but that's fine. I can make it up and still get 8 under in the final hole. Yeah, double bogey. That's really unfortunate. Onwards to the final hole, which is called Over the Sea. It looks like just a puddle of water to me. Anyhow, this hole has... Yeah, there's the other power-up, by the way. Those two little pawn things there. We're not gonna get them, though. We'll show what they do later. So this hole introduces us to the worst obstacle ever. If you so much as graze that blue puddle thing, then it counts as out of bounds. But it doesn't matter to me, because I have the special shot. That is what the special shot does. You could say it's a special tee shot. Because that's, you know, that's what the game is called. So that's 8 under on the beginner course. Special tee shot has 9 courses. Kirby's Dream Course has 8, but Kirby's Dream Course also has a kind of hard mode, which we'll see much, much later in the LP. Beginner class, -8. Let's go for 7 more of these gold trophies.